So, when I say the word poker, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Maybe it's those classic smoke filled rooms, right? Or that one lucky card on the river that changes everything. For a lot of us, that's what it is, a game of pure chance. But what if it's more? What if that card game is actually a serious workout for your brain? That's what we're digging into today. All right, let's just get right to it. Is this whole thing really just about getting dealt a great hand and, having the nerve to push all your chips in? Or is there something else going on? Something way more complex happening behind that famous poker face? You hear it all the time, right? Poker is all luck. That's the big misconception we're going to tear down today. Look, of course, luck is a part of it. In any given hand, anything can happen. But talk to any pro, and they'll tell you that over hundreds or thousands of hands, luck evens out. Skill is what separates the winners from the losers. So let's take a look at what that skill actually is. This is probably the best way to understand it. Think about a game like chess. In chess, everything's out in the open. You see all the pieces, your opponent sees all the pieces. It's what we call a game of perfect information, a straight-up battle of logic. But poker? Poker is the complete opposite. It's a game of incomplete information. The most important data, your opponent's cards, is hidden. You're basically trying to make the best decisions in a fog of uncertainty. And that right there, that fog of uncertainty, is what makes the poker table a true mental arena. It's this unique challenge that gives your brain a workout that, honestly, most other games just can't match. So this idea of incomplete information basically turns you into a detective. You can't just run the numbers and find the perfect move. Nope. You have to deduce, you have to watch people like a hawk, and you have to constantly be calculating probabilities based on tiny little clues. It's all about making sense of the limited info you actually have. And when you're doing all that detective work, you're flexing a whole set of mental muscles. It's not just one thing. It's this amazing cocktail of sharp decision-making, a really active memory, some pretty quick math skills, and maybe most importantly, a ton of emotional intelligence. You need all of them working together. Okay, so let's step into this mental gym, shall we? We're going to break down exactly how poker gives your brain this incredible workout one hand at a time. First exercise on the circuit: decision-making under pressure. And I'm not talking about deciding what to have for lunch. We are talking about making big, high-stakes calls, sometimes in just a few seconds, with real money and pride on the line. Think about it. Every single time you have to decide whether to call, raise, or fold, it's not a guess. It's this lightning-fast, multi-step analysis. You're calculating odds, you're trying to get a read on your opponent, and you're weighing the risk versus the potential reward. And you have to do that over and over and over again. All right, next up in the gym: memory and pattern recognition. And no, this isn't about some card-counting magic trick. It's a different kind of memory. It's about remembering patterns. Yeah, the cards that are out, but even more crucial, the patterns in how your opponents behave. Just imagine all the things you're juggling in your head. What cards have already been played? How does that guy bet when he's got a monster hand versus when he's bluffing? You're constantly pulling up memories of past hands to try and figure out what's going to happen next. It's literally real-time learning and adapting on the fly. Okay, and now we get to what is, for my money, the hardest part of the workout: emotional intelligence. Because at the end of the day, poker isn't just a math problem. It's a game played by people against people. And being able to read and control emotions, not just theirs, but your own, is everything. Let me give you the perfect example. It's a little thing poker players call tilt. It's when you take a tough loss, a bad beat, and you get so frustrated or angry that you just throw your strategy out the window. You start making dumb, impulsive decisions. Being able to stop yourself from going on tilt, that is the ultimate test of self-control. But here's the coolest part. All this stuff we're talking about, it doesn't just stay at the poker table. This is where it gets really interesting, because these skills translate directly to, well, real life. I mean, just think about it. Learning to manage a poker bankroll, that's just financial planning 101. Learning to read opponents, that's going to make you a killer negotiator. And that skill of assessing risk, that's exactly what you need when you're making a big career move or an investment. It trains your brain to focus on making a good decision, not just on whether you got lucky with the result.
And this isn't just a theory. There's real science here. When you engage in a complex game like poker, you're literally strengthening the connections in your brain. It's a process called neuroplasticity. You're making yourself more adaptable, more flexible in your thinking, and you're sharpening your basic problem-solving skills.
So that brings us right back to where we started. We've looked at the evidence, we've gone through all the exercises in our mental gym. So what's the answer? Does poker actually improve your intelligence? And the answer is a big, loud yes. But, and this is a really important but, it only works if you treat it like a strategic workout. If you're just gambling, just hoping to get lucky, you're not getting these benefits. Your goal has to be to learn and get better, not just to win a pot.
So, how do you actually do that? Well, a few things. First, play mindfully, like really pay attention to what you're doing. Second, talk about it. Find a community, share ideas with other players. You'll learn so much faster. And third, this one's huge, go back and review your hands after you play. Look at your decisions, the good ones and the bad ones, and figure out what you could have done differently.
So, at the end of the day, that's really the main takeaway here. Stop thinking of poker as just a game. Think of it as a tool, a really fun, really engaging tool for training your mind with skills that are going to help you everywhere, not just at the card table.
Which kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. Poker is one heck of a mental gym, but it's not the only one out there. So, I'm curious, what's yours? What are you doing to give your brain a workout and keep it sharp?